So the job report came out, and on first glance, it looks really good. And now we're going to dive into it to actually see what the numbers say and if it actually looks that good. Because personally, I don't think it looks that great. So I got my trusty phone here, and we're going to check out some of these numbers, right? So, first thing is long-term unemployment. So for me, long-term unemployment is almost key when looking at this because that means that people have been trying for a long, long time to find a job and haven't found one. So there's been 1.4 million individuals have been unemployed for 27 weeks. That's pretty bad, I would say, for that the economy is doing so great, right? So now we got another one that says 4.4 million people are employed part-time because they cannot find full-time work or their hours have been reduced. So that is also like real shitty. They can't find full-time work, or your employer just doesn't want to pay you a full-time wage because you're like, hey, instead of me hiring you full-time and give you all these benefits, I'll hire you part-time, pay you less. You might work a little bit more and I don't have to give you any benefits. So before I go any further, let me guys know, what do you think about the job report? Have you read it? Have you thought about it? What are your opinions? Before this is just data, but afterwards I will share my opinion and then we can see if all this stuff kind of matches up. So 1.5 million individual, including 462,000 discouraged workers who believe no jobs are available for them. So that's crazy. Like when they're saying that there's 6 million people that are looking for a job, 1.5 million individuals, including, yeah, not great. So now we're going to go into another statistic. 5.7 million people want a job, but are not actively looking or available to take one. I don't know what it means to not be available to take one. So how I did this, I went to the US government website and I downloaded all these numbers and put it into AI and asked it questions and kind of reference checked what it spit out so it doesn't spit out some crazy stuff for me. And so, that's how you kind of like fact check it a little bit. So then let's see where these jobs have been created. So healthcare added 68,000 jobs. Government jobs increased by 43,000. I do not know what these people are going to do in the government for, what they're going to do with 43,000 more people. Maybe military, I don't know. So leisure hospitality gained 42,000 jobs. Professional scientific technological services, 32,000. Sales assistant continued to grow, 15,000. Retail trade, 13,000. So these are the numbers of all of this job report. And I'm like, this does not look good. Because in my other video that I made, I shared with you guys that tech salaries are down about 15%. And as you can see, this is a chart. Don't get me started on statistics because however you look at the statistics, it's always going to favor somebody. And if you've known how to do statistics or taken statistics in college, you know that they're all messed up, and regardless of how you look at them, they're skewed. You can never get like a full picture. You always have to exclude people and do stuff. So yeah, so don't attack me about the statistics. I didn't make them and I didn't do anything. I just took them off the internet. So now tech salaries are down, right? And so I'm looking at it like, oh, all these people got rehired. So is that another trend? So I looked at nurses, and nurses have also taken a pay cut, and ours been cut. And so you basically kind of cut the nurses. You kind of make, you make less money. And so if you're a tech worker and a nurse, let me know if you guys taking a pay cut, because it looks to me like this is so freaking fishy when they say, oh, there's so many jobs created, doing all that, but they might just move you around, do something else, Or they're like, you gotta move from part-time, from full-time to part-time, and we're gonna cut your hours and take all of your benefits away. And then they're like, oh, we got somebody rehired. Somebody, somebody's doing better. Somebody got rehired. And I feel like once we're in that like spiral of high inflation, and with high inflation, we're decreasing salary. That seems like a really, really great way of waiting for a disaster, right? So we're like, yeah, let's just give the executives more, give them bigger packages, give them more money, but the people actually doing the job, we'll take the risk away. And the funny part is, what I don't get is that these people that these executives, they run the company to the ground. They can file for bankruptcy, do crazy stuff, and no accountability. And then, you as the worker are like the one that's gonna get laid off because they were traveling and mismanaging their money, mismanaging the company, and then you're the one, as the nurse, as the tech worker, that's gonna suffer the benefits from it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this just isn't how it should be. So with this job report, I'm like, there's so many people that want a job that can't get one. And I know that these people from that have severance packages are probably not included in this because they didn't qualify for unemployment, right? So all these 70,000 tech workers are probably not included in this. And the people that I talk to, through Ali's network, recruiters and whatnot, they're saying it's so tough labor market. And there's not that many jobs. And when they say, oh, everybody that can get a job that wants one, yeah, that's technically true. You can go as a full stack developer that can program, a lot of things. You can go work at Walmart, that's an option. But is it going to pay the bills? Is it going to pay for your lifestyle? Are you going to use your skills? No, but you can get a job. And will it come with benefits? Yeah, it'll come with benefits. Will it come with great benefits? Probably not. But that doesn't really matter, does it? Because you can technically get a job. And I feel like that's just not how it should be. Because normally you should actually say, hey, if you get let go as a full stack developer, you got to get back to be a full stack developer. That's basically saying if you're a truck driver, oh, you've been a big rig driver for 20 years. Now we're going to let you go. Why don't you go drive for Uber? And you're like, I have a commercial driver license permit. I've taken all these classes to haul, big freight around, big truck, doing, great things. And now I'm in a small little Uber Prius driving around. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. And I don't think that I would do that either if I was, owner operator. No, not an owner operator, because then you could do your own things. But if you were, a big rig driver, right? And so when they say stuff like it's like you can get a job. That's the same bullshit as they say, oh, you have access to healthcare. You have access to buy real estate. Access doesn't mean anything. And you guys let me know if access means anything, because access to healthcare doesn't mean that you can pay for it, that you could do anything, because you have access to go to New York and buy a $12 million house or a $12 million penthouse. You have access. You can call up the realtor and you can say, hey, let's go look at it or something. You have access to that. You can call them up and have access. But it doesn't mean you have the ability to buy or do anything. It just means that you can walk in and BS a little bit and make some funny jokes and leave again. And so I feel like when people say, oh, there's jobs out there, yeah, there is. But it's not the jobs that are high paying that you're qualified for. And I've seen this a lot on the other social media platforms where they're crying and saying, I just been let go from my tech, salary, and now they want me to do they're giving me low entry level positions. So I can't say a name, but there was this one person that I spoke to that said that they've had a really nice LinkedIn profile, and they were like a level 3 of project management, like a not a project, like a program manager or something like it. And they keep sending a project manager roles where you're like, hey, you can do an entry-level project manager from program management to project management. And they would pay her, I think before they were making like 140 or 140,000, and they're sending her stuff for like 60 grand in the Bay Area as a project manager. And she was like, that's not, that's half of what I used to make. And why would you send me that? Oh, you'd be a great fit. Yeah, of course I would. And that's the same thing as going to like a celebrity and saying, hey, can you promote my product for 20 bucks? They're going to say, what do you want with $20? And so the expectations and realities just nowadays don't add up, and people just don't get it. And it's hard for the business owner, because the business owner is also like, hey, I want the best quality people for the lowest price, but everybody out there now is, kind of more on the desperate side of getting a job. So they're like, hey, I can, because nobody else is, competitive. So the business owner can pick, and it's like, who are you going to pick from, from 2,000 applicants? And it's not hard in a money type of way, but it's hard because you got all these people, and they're kind of lowballing each other for it. And then it's like, hey, who are you going to pick from? Before you had like 5, 10 qualified applications. Now you get like 1,000. And then you got to go through 1,000 of them. And I know you're like, I know you guys are going to be like, oh, you don't need to be sorry for the business owner. Well, if it's a big business, you're absolutely right. If you're like a Fortune 500 company, you guys don't deserve any type of sorry or whatnot, because you guys are making profits in the billions. But if you're a small mom and pop shop, it's hard. It's hard making a profit. And you need to bring in that plus double. So you need to bring in 3 times your salary amount. And so it's got to be a really lucrative and really thought out decision to hire somebody when you're a smaller business owner, right? Or a startup. So for them, it's hard. Not as much for, for Fortune 500 companies. They have money they can just keep people on payroll and not even worry about it. And what gets me is John Deere, this company I've been making videos about, how they're handling the whole layoff thing, where they're going to put a plant in Mexico, and they've had like profits in the billions. And when you have that much profit, you should just hire some people, in your local community, or give back to the community, because they need it. And you're like, let me make even more profit. It's like, how much profit can a company actually make? It's like, I know there needs to be a profit, but when you're talking about 10 billion, at what point, and I'm asking you guys, at what point is enough profit enough profit? Like, is there an amount that you're like, hey, if you reach this much money, if you're making that much extra money, how much more do you actually need? Because it's just, at one point, it's just crazy to see like, hey, these profitability charts are going up like this, and I had it in another video, are like growing up at a 45-degree angle, and we're eliminating competition to get into the market because it's so expensive now to get into or start your own company to compete with these bigger ones, right? It's like, if you want to start a trash company or something, it's hell of expensive. The bureaucracy is insane. You just need to file paperwork here, file paperwork over there, spend thousands of dollars on paperwork over there, get a permit over here, get an insurance bond over there. And it's expensive. And I sometimes feel like these big corporations are wanting that they're like, hey, we're the only one in town. And when the FTC, that, the trade commissions and all that, they say, oh, you're too big now. You're too big. We got to split you up. Then they split themselves up, in a way that doesn't do you any good as the consumer, because then they're going to jack their prices up even worse too. So then they're going to do the Comcast thing where they're going to split up to Cox and Xfinity and all that. And they're still the same company governed by, they still get the same equipment. When you look at Cox, the one that we have in Vegas is the same equipment as I had in Santa Cruz, California, and San Jose. Exact same white box, made by the exact same manufacturer, made by the exact same people. It's just named differently. So all you basically did was you changed the name you just changed the name. And to get like market share, that's not leaving other people to enter the market at a fair place. It's just not fair. And it's like, you as a small business owner, or as a small, as a, like not as a $50 billion person or like a billionaire trying to make it, it's just tougher now than it was before. And I'm laughing not because I'm like, I'm like not that wealthy, right? I'm doing okay, but not in the millions. So I'm just like, we got to change the whole system. We got to figure something out how we can make it fair for people to not work 3 jobs, to actually make it in the real world, not in the hypothetical world, because bills have to get paid and people need to make money. And if we're cutting down paychecks so much, it's not going to be good. So I'm curiously interested, what do you guys think about this? And let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Oh my gosh, it's like a freeway, but look at this beautiful sunset. Look at this beautiful sunset. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. I appreciate it. I read every comments. Let me know if you want me to cover a video, make you a video about a topic. Let me know, and stay safe.